I'm actually really excited to be here today. And I have done this a few times over a few conferences, but I think this is probably the most excited I've been because we actually have a lot of really cool stuff to share with you and show you. Now, before we get started with the knowledge method, quick question. How many of you create and maintain knowledge on a day-to-day basis? Over here, quick show of hands. Okay, I have a bunch of people, okay? How many of you feel that you are able to keep up with your enterprise's knowledge needs easily? That means creating new knowledge, updating and keeping up with existing knowledge, and processing all the feedback that you get on knowledge. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. So, okay. As soon as I can get this clicker to work, we'll be ready to go. Okay, perfect. So I think you guys will agree with me on this point then. Ashu made this point very clearly earlier. Knowledge management has just been a lot of work. It's a lot of work because a large part of it is manual. Creation of content is manual, updating content is manual, organizing content into taxonomies is manual. Every part of knowledge management is manual, and it just feels like a lot of work. But we also know that knowledge management has never been more important than now, and that's because of AI. And that's really because of this, which is when people are looking for knowledge, and the knowledge is divided into many different silos, they often get responses that may be inaccurate, that may be outdated. Before AI, you'd look at a document and you'd say, yeah, that doesn't look right. And you probably have a chance that you'd go and find something that actually works before you use it to respond to a query. What AI has done is it creates extremely consumable, extremely good responses that may be inaccurate, that may be outdated. But the chances that somebody will use those responses are almost 100%, which means it basically increased your risk. So the need for good knowledge management that has the ability to bring these silos together has never been higher than before. But we also know knowledge management is a lot of work. Now, we believe we have solved that problem, the problem of a lot of work. We've been working with our customers with the knowledge method for a while now, and the method itself is built on many decades of experience working with enterprises such as yourself. But even during the method, it's still very manual. We had a lot of tools that would do parts of it, but there was still a lot of manual processes, and it was still a lot of work. It was a process. What we have been able to do now is automate it end-to-end. We've been able to automate it and put the entire thing into the product so that now it's available to everyone. And the results that we're seeing are pretty compelling. About 10x improvement in executing KM tasks, 3x improvement in time to value, much, and I can't stress this enough, much improved consistency, accuracy, compliance, and relevance of knowledge. What we're also seeing as we work with our customers, and I know Ashu mentioned this earlier, we are seeing a much deeper engagement with our customers. And by deep, I mean, when we first started working with our customers, we would get some data, but we wouldn't get a lot of the data that we requested. But as we show what we can do with that data, we now find that's completely gone. Customers are willing to share with us their questions, their conversation stores, so we can show them the value that we can drive from it. So the method itself, let's take a quick refresher on what the method is. It's rooted in the principle of the knowledge you need, not the knowledge you have. And what we mean by that is about 10% of the knowledge that you have in your organization provides you with 90% of your ROI from that knowledge. So it's about understanding what that 10% is. It's not about getting rid of the other 90%, but if you understand what that 10% of knowledge is that gives you the value, you can then figure out the best way to make that knowledge shine, to make it easily consumable, to make it available to a large number of people. That automatically increases your ROI and the ability for you to provide more value. Right? So the method itself consists of 3 steps and a continuous improvement loop. The first step is about understanding that knowledge you need, which we do by going to the source, which is your customer questions. What are your customers looking for? What are your end users looking for? That is the knowledge that provides you with maximum value. Once we identify that, we then source the knowledge from all the different silos, marry them with the questions that we have identified, personalize them, and publish them to all the different endpoints. And the continuous improvement loop of measuring and optimizing knowledge as we go along. Now let's take a look at these in a little bit more detail. One of the first things that we're normally asked is, why do we need questions? We used to have other means of identifying knowledge before we had the ability to look at questions. Now, AI was critical in us having the ability to go through entire conversation stores and extract customer questions from them. But before that, some of the things that we would use were things like call drivers. Call drivers are like a very coarse metric, I would say. It's like saying, I live in California, but if you actually need to find me, you need my address. So that's the coarseness that call drivers bring. The other popular thing was, let's just look at all the articles that our customers or our users use all the time. Popular articles, those are the most important ones. One of the things that we found, and this was interesting, a lot of the companies that we work with, the most popular article tends to be a list of phone numbers. Yeah, a lot of you agree with me, yes. The reason, so clearly, improving that article is not going to improve your ROI. The reason that article is most popular is because they are looking for knowledge they can't find, and they're trying to reach somebody who can actually answer their question. The only way we know what knowledge they're looking for is to go to the question. That's why the question is really important, and that's where we start. So how do we look at questions? So we go to the conversation store. We have the ability to extract customer questions from transcripts. We group them together, and we go through our volume, value, complexity analysis. And we identify the star questions that are most important, that give you the most amount of value if we can answer them correctly the first time. Now, let me give you an example of what this looks like. This is one of the examples of a customer that we worked with recently. These, and again, this is in the financial services industry, these were their top 2 questions. These 2 questions accounted for about 60% of the call volume. Now, if you look at the questions, you'd probably say instantly that we can automate them. They are fairly straightforward questions. We automate them well. That's 60% of your call volume out of your contact center instantly. So that's how powerful understanding your customer needs and customer questions can be. Now, we talked about automation. So how do we automate this piece? And this is the coolest part, because I get to show you product now. So let's take a look at how we automate discovering questions. So in this case, we're going to start with a zip file that has a lot of conversations. Now, in a real scenario, we would be connected to the conversation store. Once the zip file is imported, the system automatically analyzes the zip file, starts looking at all the questions. It will start extracting those questions, and it's soon enough ready for review. During review, you can see that the questions have already been grouped under a root question. You can see all the different utterances for that question, and we've already started plugging it in with values from our volume, value, complexity analysis. It's just another topic view which shows you the grouping of those questions with the utterances, and you can see the volume, value, and complexity. The volume obviously is derived from the volume, the frequency that we see in the conversations. Value is plugged in with industry standards, and complexity is something that you would get your SMEs to look at. So complexity really means how complex is this question to automate, and it's something that an expert can easily give us. Given those three, we can easily determine the importance of that question to your organization and identify those star questions. All of that is automated now. So now that we have automated extracting the questions, let's take a look at the next step, which is curating and synthesizing content. Now, this normally involved many months of manual restructuring. Anybody here who does not want to hear the word cleanup anymore? But that is what it involved, like cleaning up and trying to get rid of duplicates, trying to organize your answers, trying to put them into a taxonomy, etc. Many months of manual work. What we have been able to do is automatically generate answers from content that already exists, your trusted content. When we don't have an answer available in your trusted content, automatically generate it from conversations that were successful. So you're now addressing knowledge gaps as well. Now, you have your SOPs, you have your guides, you have your procedures that require agents to execute step by step. Most of them are in compliance-heavy areas, which means they have to be done in a specific way. So we have the ability to take those SOPs, convert them into deterministic reasoning automatically. And with deterministic reasoning, you can be sure that it is actually going to step through the procedure as it was written. So once again, let's take a look at how these things can be done in the product. Right? So in the first case, we're going to take a look at identifying answers from sources that already exist within the organization. So we left it off where we imported the questions last time. Going into the Answers tab, we have already collected the answers from potential sources in your knowledge base. Actually shows you all the different sources, and you have the ability to go in and say whether you like the answer or not. It also shows you a confidence level of how confident that answer, how confident the system is of that answer. Again, a detailed view that just gives you more information about all those pieces. So automatically identifying answers from sources of content that already exist in the organization. What if the answer doesn't exist in any of your sources? So let's take a look at that. When an answer doesn't exist in the sources in the organization, we have the ability, because we just extracted all the conversations, we have the ability to go into the conversations and take a look at which conversations were successful. You can mark out the conversations that you know were successful. And based on those successful conversations, the system can create an article for you that answers the question. This article can then be sent into a workflow for your SMEs to review and approve. Again, automating end-to-end that process of synthesizing knowledge. And lastly, we talked about SOPs. Let's take a quick look at the SOPs as well. So this is a procedure that's written in a document, which is the form that we generally tend to see procedures written in. So, quick click of the button, we can read the procedure, we generate a flowchart, which you can take a look at and review. Another click, we can put all of that information into a case base. Now, before you know it, we now have a case base that is completely constructed based on the procedure that you had written up in your document. Again, fully automated. Reduces the maintenance effort down to 0. So now we've automated the question part. We've automated the answer part. Now let's take a look at personalizing and publishing, which was the third step. So this is actually interesting. Designing taxonomy and UX experience was a task. I think we found that in most deployments that we go to. It takes a while for people to agree and come together on things like taxonomy and UX for some reason. One of the strangest things that we probably found was when we started doing this, and we started doing this early with just AI prompts that were written. We didn't have the tools all connected together. But the AI, once it goes in and extracts the taxonomy out of your existing content and your questions, if we put that taxonomy in front of SMEs, we get agreement a lot faster. Because it's rooted in facts, and we can point to why those pieces are needed. So it's easier for people to look at it and review it and say, yeah, that works. Or that doesn't work, that needs to be tweaked. So what we now have the ability to do is automatically generate the taxonomy and organize articles into the taxonomy. We also have the ability to automatically generate metadata, which is really key for your AI systems to work properly. We also have specific configurations for UX experience and for branding according to your brand. So we're going to take a look at two examples specifically on branding. One, we're going to take a look at an example where we're branding an article to meet the style guides. And then we'll take a look at an example where we are branding UX to meet your brand guidelines as well. So in the first example, we first find the articles that don't meet your style guides. Quick click through. AI automatically identifies all the issues with that article and why it doesn't meet the style guides. Another click, AI will fix the article to meet all your style guides requirements. Insert that back into the knowledge base, and you are ready to publish. Again, fully automated and as simple as that. Right? Now let's take a look at the UX aspect as well. One of the challenges with UX is creating a design, getting people to agree on the design, and tweaking that design till we get agreement from everybody in the group. Right? So by providing you with a WYSIWYG editor, we call this the super theme, where you can go in, start from any UX that's in our library, quickly update it to your branding needs, change the logo, change the colors, add a few additional pieces to the search bar up at the top. So you can put an announcement section in there. Let's say you want another sidebar on the left side, quickly add a sidebar on the left side, add a few widgets into the sidebar, change how the topics look so you can have images associated with your topics. All of that quickly with the UI. You can now sit with your designer, and instead of having many design sessions that have to go back and forth for feedback, you can just do it right there. So it makes it really easy for you to brand and get your UX brand aligned and published. Yeah. So now we have automated questions, automated answers, automated personalizing and publishing, right? Now about the loop. One of the biggest challenges with the optimization loop was we had measures like relevance, we had measures like adoption, but it was hard to get real measures on knowledge quality. How do you measure quality of your knowledge? Those measures were much harder to get. If you had to identify all the duplicate articles in your knowledge base, or if you had to identify all the articles that had conflicting information, the only real way to do it was to read every single article. which is nearly an impossible task. But with AI, what we now have the ability to do is pinpoint those articles that have duplicate content. We can also pinpoint those articles that have conflicting content. We can actually analyze your entire knowledge base and detect all content quality issues, and we can bring that to your notice. So this is our new knowledge intelligence dashboard. So you can already see it's divided into compliance, consistency, and correctness. Under compliance, you have things like metadata issues, acronyms that may not be defined properly. You have things with localization, things with readability. Under consistency, things like duplicate content. And under correctness, things like conflicting content. That's not all, though. This entire dashboard is built on prompts, which means if you have business-specific measures, we can add those into the dashboard as well. That's not all either. When we identify duplicate articles or contradicting information, we can fix it as well for you. So let's take a look at that quickly, that experience, right? So this is duplicate articles. When we identify duplicate articles, you will see the article pair, click on it, it will bring it up side by side. It will highlight and tell you how close they are in similarity, meaning are they 95% similar, 80% similar, etc. Now, you also get to see what questions it answers. So to understand if an article is an exact duplicate, those are the two pieces of information you need. How similar are the content, and what question is this article answering? If they match, more than likely a duplicate. System allows you to merge it and get the merged version, publish it out automatically. Again, reducing load, automating things. Conflicting articles, similar. Pick up a pair of conflicting articles, it will bring up the conflicts side by side. You'll be able to see side by side those articles. Again, you'll be able to see the metadata, you'll be able to see the questions. You'll also be able to see those sections that actually contradict. You can go in there, quickly edit, change the contradicting sections, publish it from there, and you're done. So we've automated questions, we've automated answers, we've automated personalizing and publishing, and we have significantly improved that content quality loop that we have. Now, we truly believe that when you do knowledge with the new AI knowledge method, we can make it fun. So this is, you recognize it, this is a recent picture from our customer launch. And you can see the happy faces. What I do want to leave you guys with is two thoughts, right? Two thoughts I want to leave you with, and I think Ashu touched upon this earlier. The demo launch opens right after we are done with the first set of sessions. I would go to every station in the demo launch. We will be able to show you everything that I've shown you in videos over here. They will be able to show you those live, and they will be able to show you more and answer your questions in depth. We also have a workshop tomorrow. John touched upon it when he was introducing us. In the first workshop, we are going to go deeper into the AI knowledge method. So we will go in and cover how we do each one of these steps. I would encourage everybody to attend the workshop as well. I'll leave you guys with those thoughts. Thank you very much.